All right, so there's a lot to say about just how terrible the airlines are. There's been a number of stories coming out, day after day, week after week, showing that they're falling apart, man. They're straight up falling apart. So The Hill says more than 300 flights canceled and 3,000 flights delayed at the start of the holiday weekend. This was on July 1st. Then we have this, thousands more flights canceled or delayed. Wait for it. This was in the New York Post. Thousands more flights canceled or delayed as 4th of July travel blitz continues. So this was on July 3rd. So you're getting all these delays and all these flights being canceled. And it's so bad that the More Perfect Union did like a detailed investigation of it and got to the roots of it. And I have to show you this because this is astonishing. I mean, the airlines basically committed fraud. So let's take a look.
Taking a flight in America has never been a worse experience.
Travel nightmare played out at airports across the country.
Customers are left frustrated by the cancellations and the delays.
Thousands of cancellations.
Skyrocketing ticket prices.
It's called the misery map.
Tens of thousands of flights have been canceled at the last minute in recent months. Experts say they've never seen anything like it.
I don't see an end in sight. This is really unprecedented in terms of the number of cancellations that are occurring so close to departure time.
Media reports have blamed the airline chaos on weather problems and staff shortages, but that misses the bigger picture. These cancellations are really a scandal about corporate power, one that airline executives engineered. Here is how it worked. During the pandemic, airlines secured one of the biggest public bailouts of any industry, $54 billion. The catch? They couldn't lay off their workers. But
now look at this loophole they're about to describe right now. This should infuriate you. The whole point of, hey, we're going to bail them out is they're in trouble. They're in real trouble because of COVID. But we'll give you this bailout, but there are strings attached. You can't lay off workers. Look at this.
They found a loophole.
Delta will soon offer employees buyouts and early retirement opportunities.
October 1, furlough day for 30,000 workers at United and American Airlines.
Instead of layoffs, airlines used furloughs and early retirements to push out pilots and crew by
How Weasley, how sleazy is that? How disgusting is that? They basically lied. They lied. Now, if you're a government that's competent and looking out for the people, they would pay for this. Oh, they would pay for this. But you'll see, I'll bite my tongue here, but you'll see the official government response. It's something else.
All of 2021, they shrunk their workforce by 56,000 people.
Wow.
Airlines schedule their flights 11 months in advance. They know they don't have the pilots to service these flights. So now passengers
nice system
are paying the price. Airlines are essentially committing fraud, scheduling and selling thousands of flights they know they can't service.
They sold tickets to the traveling public that they cannot live up to, and it's driving us pilots crazy.
I hate seeing some of the things that we're putting out about specifically being fully staffed for this summer.
So we're well staffed for the summer?
I know that that's not true. We're making these empty promises that I'm already used to getting to the public.
1,300 pilots expected to demonstrate here outside the airport this morning. They say they're overworked and understaffed, and it's leading to delays and cancellations.
Airlines are rushing to rehire, but staffing is still below pre-pandemic levels. They know they don't have pilots to fly their scheduled flights.
There is pressure. We don't have the pilots that we need to fly a full regional schedule.
They're just refusing to tell passengers in advance.
That's incredible. And also the pilots who are there are clearly super overworked. The staff that's there is super overworked.
Instead, canceling flights at the last minute. The industry acts like it can get away with this.
They're just committing fraud. They know they don't have the staff. They know they don't have the planes. They know they don't have these flights. And people show up to the airport and it's like, oh, by the way, there is no flight. What?
Because it usually does. A wave of mergers has left just a handful of huge, powerful airlines. They charge higher prices for worse services, pile on fees, and ignore regulations they don't like. In 2021, airlines refused to return $10 billion to customers for canceled flights despite rules requiring refunds.
The finest air crews in the world belong to the United States. It's the airline personnel in the suites, the corporate suites. They don't give a fig about their customers.
The FAA is supposed to hold airlines accountable, but experts say it's one of the agencies most captured by corporate power. For example, the FAA has let airlines move most airplane maintenance to non-certified mechanics outside of the U.S.
How does that make you feel?
To cut costs.
There's no transparency on the critical maintenance and repairs outsourced to El Salvador, Brazil, and China, often under far less stringent oversight.
The FAA also still allows airlines to charge
Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
Parents a fee to be seated next to their young children. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who oversees the FAA, has done little to address these issues or the cancellations crisis. After advocates raised concerns, Buttigieg decided to meet privately with airline CEOs and politely told them to do better.
I let them know that this is a moment when we were really counting on them to deliver reliably for the traveling public.
The very next day, his own flight was canceled.
Neoliberalism 101. Corporatism 101. I went and talked to these executives and I said, "Good sir, please do a good job. I would really appreciate that. Thank you. We're relying on you. We're depending on you. We'll see you." That's it? That's all you got? The answer is yes. It's just like, remember Hillary in the debate, famously 2016, I went to Wall Street and I told them to cut it out. That was right before the crash. It's like, okay, well, how did that approach work? Maybe you needed to do something different and use the force of law, because just saying, cut it out, is not enough.
The Biden administration has to take action and show that government is working. It's been done before, like in 2009, when airlines were routinely keeping passengers stuck on the tarmac for hours. The Transportation Department barred the practice, then hit American Airlines with a $900,000 fine for keeping over 600 passengers on a tarmac for over 3 hours. Long tarmac delays have dropped dramatically since. Secretary Buttigieg could similarly threaten to levy hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines on airlines for every canceled flight they knew had little chance of flying. This is fraud. Buttigieg needs to act in the public's interest immediately, before Americans' travel plans are destroyed by the greed of airline monopolies.
By the way, you know who released a detailed plan saying, hey, this is how we're going to go after the airlines and how we're going to correct their behavior? Bernie. He released a detailed plan. You're fined this much for this and that much for that, and wrote it all up, released it, and of course, crickets in response. And Secretary Pete is doing Dickie McGee's acts. So, as per usual, is unfolding just as we all thought it would in a broken, rotten system. And just look at the way it works, man. Like, the airlines got this giant bailout. There were strings attached. They just ignored the strings attached, did what they wanted, and now they're committing fraud to the general public as they're delivering a worse product. The corporate stranglehold over this country is astonishing. And they have some fucking nerve. And what we need is a new FDR to get them back in line and to get them to do the job that they're supposed to do. Because right now, I've never seen anything more egregious than this. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.